What's up, guys? I'm Dwayne,
I'm Alicia.
and this is Blackboard Gaming, where we teach you about all these great board games that are out there.
Waiting to be played by you and yours.
I'm a simple man, don't want a complication. Complication.
Hey,
Hi,
everybody!
everybody.
So, today, I might get clowned by my wife because I consistently mispronounce a particular word in this overview. But when all is said and done, I'm here to tell you about some great board games that are out there, not to teach you proper English.
Excuses. Anyway, today we're going to talk about Genotype.
Genotype is a game designed by John Coveyou, Paul Solomon, and Ian Zhang, and published by Genius Games.
Let's go to the table for an overview of how this game is played.
Genotype is a dice drafting set collection game for 1 to 5 players, where the players are researching the genetics of growing pea plants. And this is the game board for Genotype set up in the middle of the play area. On the left side of the board is where we have our Punnett squares and our dice pool areas in 4 different colors. And that's where we'll be drafting our offspring dice. On the right side of the board, in the upper right, we have what is known as an abacus. And that's how we will track our research upgrade prices. And in the bottom right is where we would display our available pea plant and tool cards. We took the 5 offspring dice along with the 2 parent gene tiles of each color and placed them next to the Punnett square matching their color. And then we created a supply of trait tokens and coins and placed them next to the play area in reach of all players. And then we took 4 coins and placed a coin in each of these starting spaces to the right of the Punnett squares. We will set our round marker on the 1 spot up there, and then we set our prices on the abacus. So if you look here, the beads, there's a darker bead here, and we would take these wooden tokens and place them on those spots. And that sets our prices for our research upgrades. We created a supply of our plot tiles and our dice slots, and we have assistants. We shuffled that deck up and revealed 3 assistants that are available to hire. And then we will create our display of pea plants and tools. We will shuffle both of these decks and reveal 3 off the top of each deck based on the number of players. So we're setting up for a 2-player game, so we reveal 3 of each. Each player is going to get a player mat, and they're also going to get 3 action tokens and 3 research markers of their chosen color. Each player has 2 more action tokens, but you're going to place these 2 on the board to the right of the abacus, and you can only get those during the research upgrade phase. Each player is going to get a coin, and then they're going to draw 1 tool card off the top of the tool deck, and they're going to draw 3 pea plant cards off the top of the pea plant deck. And of those 3 cards, they're going to choose 1 to place into an open plot on their board. Your board has 2 plots. They're going to choose 1 to keep in their hand, and then they're just going to discard the other one. Then the player who recently done some gardening will get this first player token, and the game can begin. So what the players are doing in this game, if you haven't figured it out yet, is they're planting pea plants and to score points. So this pea plant here would score me 8 points at the end of the game. But how do I grow this plant? Well, if you see over to the right hand side, it has these traits that I need to validate. Now, how do I validate those traits? Well, we draft dice matching those traits, and we place them in these dice slots. And when we put a dice in that slot matching that trait, we would take one of these trait tokens and cover up that trait. And then once all these traits are covered up, we will be able to score points off this P plan. So, the game is going to last 5 rounds. And each round has 3 phases. There's a working phase, there's a plant breeding phase, and then there's the research upgrade phase. So, in the working phase, you're going to take your action marker and you're going to place it on one of the 9 worker place action spots on your personal board or out onto the game board. So let's start with the game board. So you take this action marker, you see where that is, you can place that here, and you can do some gardening. So the gardening is 3 steps in this order. So first you could draw a P plant card or a tool card from the face-up display or from the top of the deck. Then you would harvest any P plants whose traits you've validated. So let's say later on in the game, I validated all 3 of these traits. Now I can harvest this plant. Removing these, returning those to the supply, and now that's going to score me points. Put it next to my board face down. Then I could sow some P plant cards. So I had this in my hand. I could place this in any spot, Now, when harvesting these, if I have 2 of them harvested, I can harvest both of them. And any available slots that I have, I can put a P plant card in it. Now, the other action spot I could go to is, right now I have 3 dice slots. So during the plant breeding phase, I can draft 3 dice. Or I could place this here, and now during this round, I can draft 4 dice. Let's look at the other spots out on the game board where we could place our action markers. So on the left hand side, we have our Punnett squares. And the Punnett squares show you what type of traits the dice will represent after we have rolled them. So if you look at this one, you have the higher case letter, which is the dominant trait, and the lower case is the recessive trait. So if I rolled a 1, there was a 1 dice, it will represent a double dominant gene. 2 and 3 will represent a dominant and a recessive, and the 4 will represent 2 recessive genes. But if I decide to place my action marker here, then I could take one of these parent gene tiles and place it over one of these spots to make it where I will have a better chance of getting that particular trait. So placing this here, these are 2 recessive, so now I have a higher chance of getting a dice with 2 recessive genes. I could place an action marker here, and that's called first shift. So in first shift, it doesn't do anything right away, but when you go into the plant breeding phase and you're drafting dice, whoever has markers on the first shift will get first choice in clockwise order. And if you are the first to place your action marker here or here in this particular Punnett square, then you will get this coin. Now there's also second shift down here. So after first shift is gone, anybody got an action marker in second shift, they get to go next. Now the other place I can go is down here and set a research goal. So let's say the majority of the plant cards, the P plant cards that I am growing, have a particular trait. Like let's say the 2 recessive G's. So I can go here, spend 2 coins, and I will place this here. So now at the end of the game, for every time there's a double recessive G gene on any of my plant cards, I will get an extra 3 points at the end of the game. If I place it here, 2 dominant genes or dominant and a recessive, that'd be an extra 2 points. Now, on the right hand side of the board, I could place my action marker up here and go to the treasury, and that would just give me 2 coins. And money is really tight in this game. Now, I will point out, being this is a 2-player game, this second spot is not open. I can also take my action spot and go action marker and go to the university and spend some money, 1 coin, to just validate a trait without drafting a die. I could take my action marker, go to the nursery, and that will allow me to draw 2 cards from the face-up display or 2 cards off the top of the deck. Last place, I could go here and just get a tool card from the face-up display or the top of the deck. Once everybody has placed their action markers, we will end the working phase and go right into the plant breeding phase. In the plant breeding phase, the players will gather up the 5 offspring dice in each color and roll them out, and then place them out onto the board based on what traits they represent on this Punnett square. And if ever you roll one of these, that's a mutation, and you roll that again, and if it lands on this side again, then you will place it right there. Once all the dice have been rolled and placed in the dice pool area, then the players can start drafting dice, starting with any player who has their action marker in the first shift spot. Once they're done, then whoever has their action marker in the second shift spot will draft dice, and then once they're done, then the players will continue to draft dice in regular turn order. So when drafting dice, you take a die. This dice represents a dominant and a recessive gene. Take this, put it in an available slot, dice slot on your game board, and then you will immediately take one of these trait tokens and place it on a plant card that you have on your board that needs that gene validated. So if you remember this card here, we'll place this here. So now all I got to do is validate the 2 recessive genes and that dominant and recessive R gene. So then the next player will be able to draft dice. So when drafting dice, you can also take this mutation dice. Now when taking this, there's 1 or 2 things you can do when drafting this dice. You can place this in an available dice slot on your board and gain 1 coin. Remember, money is tight in this game. Or you can take this dice and a dice of that matching color, place it in 2 available dice slots on your board. Now you can validate any trait on one of your P plant cards that matches that color. So let's say a player needed 2 of the dominant T's, trait. He can take this dice, place it on his board. So now he can validate that trait. Then drafting dice will continue till every player has ran out of available dice slots on their board. Then the plant breeding phase will end, and we will go into the research upgrade phase. The research upgrade phase is where you will take what little money you were able to obtain and spend it on some upgrades that will help you later on in the game. And this is done in reverse turn order. So there are 4 upgrades you can buy. You can buy a new plot. Remember, on your game board, you have 2 plots, so you can get one of these and get a 3rd one. You can buy a dice slot, another permanent dice slot. You got 3 on your board at the beginning of the game, so now you got a 4th one. You can get another action marker, and you can hire an assistant. And these assistants will give you special powers that only you can use through the rest of the game. Now, when buying these upgrades, the prices are set by this abacus. And right now, if I wanted to buy a new plot, I would have to spend 2 coins, and I would get this plot, place it next to my player board, and then the price will go up. So now the next player had to spend 3 coins, and then the price will go up again. Now each player will buy 1 research upgrade on their turn until they decide to pass. Once everybody has passed, Then the research upgrade phase will be over, and we will set up for the next round. We will move the round marker 1 space. All the prices on the abacus will go back left, once. We would discard all these available assistants, any plants in the nursery or tool shed, or the tool cars in the tool shed, discard them and refill that back up. We will refill any coins over on the Punnett square spots if they have been taken. And then all the players will recover all their action markers and return offspring dice that's on their board back to the side of the board, left side of the board. And then we would go into round 2. After the plant breeding phase in round 5, we will skip the research upgrade phase and go right into final scoring. The first thing we would do is harvest any pea plants whose traits we have fully validated. So I validated this one, I will harvest this one, but I can't harvest these two. Then we would count up our points. So we will receive the points in the upper left-hand corner of our pea plant cards. We would get the points from the research goals that we set for ourselves. So I set a research goal for the dominant recessive R gene. So every time that appears on one of my cards, any of my cards, including that one because it's the same goal, but anytime that appears on my cards, I will get an extra 2 points for each one of those. Then I will get a point for each trait tile that I have. This represents incomplete research, but I get 1 point for each of these. And then I will get a point for each coin that I have left over at the end of the game. Once all those point totals have been counted up, whoever has the most points will be the winner of Genotype.
Well, you did get better at saying abacus.
I was working at it. I don't know. I kept wanting to say but I don't know. But anyway, let's jump right to it. What did you think about the theme of this game?
All right, so when you first told me the name Genotype and I thought about it, the first thing I thought about was I remember learning about Mendel's experiments in high school biology. And so when it turns out that that's what the game is about, it just solidified it. The theme resonated with me.
Okay, I thought you might like it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've seen this game talked about when you're teaching students or everything, and I was interested in it because, I like growing stuff in games.
Well, in this particular, you do like nature and you do like gardening games, but in this particular game, you're not growing stuff so that you can eat. You're not growing peas so you can have peas for dinner. You're actually experimenting and researching, so that's different.
Okay, I take that. So, but I did enjoy this game. I was really interested in it, and I'm glad I picked it up.
Okay.
So, what did you think about the components of this game?
All right, so I love those dice.
Yeah.
I love those chunky, colorful dice. Love the dice.
Yeah, I like the colorful dice, and like when you throw them out on the board, and it's just a great contrast because the rest of the game is just like brown, different shades of brown.
It's monochromatic.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I know you like colorful dice, so I figured that would be an attraction for you.
Now, see, I have been playing games with you too long because this game needs a little tricking out.
What?
Okay, so that first player token, the spade.
Yeah.
It's cute, but I want a real little spade.
I mean, that's a good idea, but at the same time, if we play the game and you lose, I don't want to give you weaponry.
Listen, a spade is just a baby shovel. You good?
Okay, it's still a shovel.
Whatever. And I like hearing coins clink. So
yeah.
We got to get some metal coins.
Oh, so you want to trick this game out?
Yes.
You want me to get some dirt to put out on the board too?
See, now why we do all that?
I mean, okay. Anyway, so what did you think about the art of this game?
So, what I love about the art is I love how the assistants are depicted. They look like real people.
Okay, now so that you mentioned the assistants, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to jump ahead. So this game is good, but what the thing about this game is when you hire an assistant, those assistants have superpowers.
Now, I'm going to be honest, though. I'm just going to be honest. When I looked, when the first options were available and I saw Amari, y'all, I just got Amari because it was Amari.
Yeah, you like the name.
I like the name and I like the way he looked, but I wasn't even thinking about whether he was going to be helpful or not.
Oh, really? No. So there's an assistant in the game, Sister May.
No. Sister May was the bomb.
Yeah, because, you know, at our church,
Our first lady is Sister May.
Yeah, so when I checked her out, and one of the things I like about this game, because it has a detailed description of how the assistants work in the book, and Sister May don't hold nothing up.
But, so I had looked, and it was a Sister Maria. So when he grabbed the card and he said, I'm going to get Sister May, I thought he had grabbed Sister Maria and was just calling her Sister May.
Nope, it's Sister May. Shout out to Sister May.
Shout out to Sister May.
All right, so let's go back. All right, what did you think about the mechanics?
All right, so I like the mechanics. I like the combination. It's set collection.
Mm-hmm.
It's dice drafting.
Yep.
And it's
I like the dice drafting. I love the dice placement. I like it has that worker placement because you're taking your little wooden spades as your action markers and putting them out on the board.
Oh, that's another component I really love. Those little wooden spades are adorable. I love those. Those are so adorable. And I love the colors of the player pieces.
Yeah, they're different because they have purple.
Yes.
So you like purple.
Well, I don't just like the purple. I just like the colors that they chose to use.
Right.
I think they complemented the game well.
Okay. Yeah, because you got a lot of brown out there.
So the orange and the purple was just a nice, colorful contrast.
Yeah, I did like that. All right, so what do you think about the teach, though?
All right, so.
It's a moving part.
All right, listen. Listen. I had just got off work. This is one of them times when I was tired and sleepy, and initially it was a little bit overwhelming to learn because this is not an entry-level game. This is not an entry-level game. And every single round, I was like, okay, now what am I supposed to do? He has to tell me every time.
But you figured it out.
Yes, I finally got the hang of it. So this game is a game after you learned some of the basic mechanics of this new genre of tabletop games. This is a second level game. This is not an entry level game.
Yeah, I would agree with that because it's got little things you got to pay attention to, especially like the research goals, and you're trying to score points off of those. So I really did like this game.
Yes,
this game is a really cool, like just midweight, little bit light midweight. I would give it that. But so overall,
this is an intelligent game that makes you think, but that's still a lot of fun.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I did like this game. I like the presence on the table. Like I said, I love the contrast of the dice on that, all that brown and everything. And I like what you're doing in this game, and I really like it. So that's how we feel about genotype. Now, before we go, I got to give you an update. So, this past Friday, my wife, they had a half a day, and she didn't have all her kids. So she calls me. I'm at home sleep because it's my off day. She calls me and say, hey, can you bring word on the street up to the school? So I brought it up to the school.
And it was a hit.
Yeah.
My students enjoyed it a lot.
Now, you can't play genotype with, genotype wouldn't be for her.
Yes,
students,
my students are elementary, and genotype is a little bit above there.
Yeah, but, so that's the update. So, anyway, genotype, we really like it, and it's going to stay in our collection. So, if you like the contents of this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I'm Dwayne.
I'm Alicia.
This has been Blackboard Gaming.
We will see you next time.